Hello students, myself Pallavi Borade, teacher at Ferguson Junior College Pune. I teach Vocational Electronics Paper 1. In the previous lecture, we already started our chapter number 5, Modern Electronic Communication. So today we are going to start the remaining part of this chapter. So let's start the presentation. So till now we have seen the applications of communication system. In that we have seen satellite communication. So let's see the second part of the satellite communication, that is transponder. So this is the block diagram of transponder. So basically the transponder is trans receiver. In that transponder we have the combination of transmitter as well as receiver. So if you observe this diagram, we have receiver, then local noise amplifier, then we have mixer, then local oscillator is there, then power amplifier is there, and that power amplifier is connected to the transmitter. So here 6 GHz downlink frequency is connected to the receiver and 4 GHz uplink frequency is connected to the transmitter. So let's see the working. So the transmitter receiver combination of satellite is known as transponder. A transponder consists of receiving antenna, low noise amplifier, mixer, local oscillator, power amplifier and transmitting antenna. So signals received from the earth stations are amplified by low and the uplink frequencies are converted to downlink frequencies by frequency conversion formed by mixer and local oscillator. So if you observed here, 2 GHz frequency is generated by local oscillator and it is mixed with mixer, and 6 GHz is converted into the 4 GHz frequency. After frequency conversion, the power level of the signal is increased by power amplifier circuit. Then transmitting antenna transmit the downlink signal to the receiving station on the earth. That's why the downlink frequency is 4 GHz. So let's see the application of satellite. The first application of satellite is it is used in communication. It is basically used in TV communication and telephone communication. So the communication satellites are used to send and receive radio signals for television, phone or internet communication. Second application is use of satellite in surveillance. So if you observe this picture here, the surveillance is there. We can surveillance our earth sources by using this satellite. So in military services also we can use this surveillance application. So in military satellites, onboard cameras take photographs which are received on the earth, and intelligence satellites collect information about enemies. Third use of satellite for monitoring earth's resources. So here meteorological satellites are used for studying the weather condition. Satellites can monitor the status of earth resources like lands and oceans. Second use is use of satellite for global positioning system, GPS. So this is very famous application of satellite. In day-to-day life we are using this GPS. So this system is a network of 24 low earth orbit satellites spaced equally around the world in overlapping patterns. GPS can be used by military, individual and industry for navigation purpose. So let's start with the digital communication. So we have seen the first part of communication, that is analog communication, where analog signals are used. So the second part of communication is digital communication. So the transmission of binary or digital information from one point to another is called as data communication. So data communication systems allow the transfer of information between computers. So basically in this type of communication, digital signals, that is the binary signals, are used for communication. So what do you mean by binary signals? So basically this is the pulse of 01. You can say the stream of 0101. The binary pulses having two distinct stages are called digital signals. So it has two stages, each state represented by a voltage level, and the pulses switch rapidly between these two levels. So here binary 0 represents 0 volt and binary 1 represents plus 5 volt. So in digital communication, whenever we transmit the information, it is in terms of codes. So these types of codes are used in digital communication. The first type of code is Morse code, and basically this is a series of dots and dashes that represents a letter of the alphabet, number, punctuation and marks. So these Morse codes are used in coded message. Here dot and dash are represent for letters and marks. Next code is baudette code. So it was used in teletype machine, which are typewriter like devices, and the binary code used in these machines is a 5-bit code which can represent 32 symbols. So basically this type of code is used in typewriter and it is a 5-bit code. So let's start with the method of transmission. So here there are two methods of transmission in the digital communication. The first method is parallel transmission. So in parallel transmission, data transfers, all bits of a code are transferred simultaneously. So in this type, there is one wire is used for each bit of information to be transmitted. So if you observe this picture, one bit is transferred by one wire. So we can transmit 8 bits, 16 bits at a time simultaneously from sender to receiver. So what is the use of parallel transmission? So it is used in computers and other digital equipment for transfer of binary data between circuits. So this method is very fast because all the bits are transmitted from transmitter to receiver simultaneously. Some drawbacks are there. So drawbacks are, as multi-wire cables are necessary for long distance communication, this method is impractical. And cost is high and signal attenuation is also there. Second method, that is serial transmission. So in this type, each bit of the word is transmitted one after another. So the LSB is transmitted first and the MSB is last. So single data line is used. So this is the string of pulse or string of bits is transmitted from sender to receiver by using only one single wire. So the use of this serial transmission is for long distance, we can transfer this data. With high-speed logic circuit, serial data transfer can take place at high speed also. There is one drawback, because of sequential nature, time requirement is more. So let's start with the modem. What do you mean by modem? Modem is basically a combination of modulator and demodulator. So in the digital communication, when we communicate between two computers, we have to send data in the digital form. But some data is in the AC form, that is in analog form. That's why we cannot transmit our data through the telephone lines. That's why we required modem. So the why modem? The answer is why modem is required. So the telephone network is now widely used to carry digital information, but the binary signal are represented by pulses, and the telephone line is designed to carry only AC voltage. Therefore, binary signal would not pass through a telephone network. So these drawbacks of telephone systems can be eliminated by using modems. That's why modem is more important in the digital communication. So this is the diagram of modem. Here digital signals from one computer is connected to the modem, and that modem will convert that digital signal into analog signal, and it is transmitted over the telephone line to another modem. And the second modem will demodulate that signal into the digital signal, and it is connected to the second computer. So a modem is a device containing both modulator and demodulator. So it is used to convert binary signal into analog signals capable of being transmitted over the telephone lines and reconstruct the equivalent binary output. So in the modem, we have one type of modem is FSK, that is frequency shift keying modem. So this is the block diagram of frequency shift keying modem. So if you observe this diagram, there are two sections, transmitter section and receiver section. In the first section here, computer, FSK modulator, FSK demodulator and bandpass filter is used. So basically what do you mean by FSK? So in the FSK digital communication, frequencies are assigned for the binary signals, and in this type, frequency shift keying type of modulation is used. So two sine wave frequencies are used to represent binary 0 and 1. So these frequencies should be within 300 to 3000 Hertz. So the simultaneous transmit and receive operations require two sets of frequency. So here tones are generated for binary 0 and binary 1. First tone is for binary 0, 1070 Hertz is assigned, and for binary 1, 1270 Hertz is assigned. For the second set, in the second section, binary 0 is assigned as 2025 Hertz and binary 1 is assigned 2225 Hertz. So here, two sets of frequencies are used to communicate between second modem and first modem. Here, first section modem is connected to the telephone lines, where digital signal is converted to the analog signal, and that analog signal is again connected to the second set of FSK modem. So in this way, we can use this FSK modem for in the digital communication. So let's start the computer networks. So what do you mean by computer networks? So instead of only one-to-one mode of communication, in many systems, a user may communicate with many stations. So for this purpose, some form of connection must be established. So each station must be connected to all other stations with which communication is desired. So these networks are basically the multitasking communication. If you use many stations for the communication, we can use these computer networks. So we have types of networks. The first type of network is LAN, that is local area network. The second type of network is metropolitan area network, that is MAN. And the third type of network is WAN, that is wide area network. So let's see, the first type of network is LAN, local area network. So the network which interconnect multiple stations over a very small area are called local area network. So LANs have user up to 100 only, and LANs are widely used in companies. So we can use this LAN for only small areas. Second type of network is MAN, that is metropolitan area network. So this is a computer network that interconnects user with computer resources in a geographic region of the size of metropolitan area. So this is basically a medium sized network. Within a city, we can use this MAN network. Third is WAN, that is wide area network. As name suggests, wide area is covered under this network. So the large networks such as those that cover complete country or state are called wide area network. So long distance telephone systems are wide area network. Using 4 to 5 LAN networks, we can create this wide area networks. Next is network topologies. So here topologies means what? The stations or nodes can be interconnected in many ways to form a network. So these network configurations are known as network topologies. So these are the types of network topologies, like star, ring, bus and tree topologies are here. So let's start with the star. So star topology is a LAN that uses a central controller for many stations is the star topology. And the communication between two stations must take place through the central controller station. So in this topology, the central controller is there and all the connections are connected to that central controller. Let's see the advantage of this star topology. The first advantage is sharing facility can be provided. Second is very good control. If any node fails, the system is not disabled. So these are the advantages. Some disadvantages are also there. First is limited number of nodes are possible and the slow speed response during heavy use. Second topology, that is ring. The structure of this topology is like a ring. We can connect this connection in the ring form. So a LAN in which the message is passed from one station to the next station until the destination is reached is called as ring topology. So there is no central controller station. All stations are connected in a continuous loop. Let's see the advantages of this topology. So the first advantage is the cost is lowest of all topologies. The systems can be easily expanded. And the disadvantages are, as the nodes are accessed sequentially, the speed is slow. And if one node fails, the whole system will fail. The third type of topology is bus. Again, the structure is like a bus. That's why this topology is called as bus. So the network in which all stations are attached to a common cable called as bus and communication is bidirectional. Two stations can communicate directly without interference from any other stations. Let's see the advantages of this topology. So the advantages are the speed is maximum due to direct access. Failure of one node will not disable the whole system and the system can be easily expanded. Tree topology. So in this topology, the bus is extended into several branches so that more stations can be interconnected. In large tree systems, a controller node is used. So let's start with the second topic, that is fiber optic communication. So this is the type of communication like satellite communication. Here also we can use fiber optic cables for the communication purpose. So this is the picture of fiber optic cables. Why this fiber optic communication is required? So a wire conductor cable or free space can be used as communication medium, but the information carrying capacity depends upon the bandwidth. So the bandwidth is limited due to the characteristics of cable. Therefore, the only way to expand communication capability is to use light as the transmission medium. So this is the block diagram of fiber optic communication. So if you observe this diagram, there are two sections, transmitter section and receiver section. In this transmitter section, we have coder, that is converter. That code will convert analog signal into the digital signal. That digital signal is connected to the light source where LED is used or laser is used. So that light is passing through that fiber optic cable. So the fiber optic cable output is connected to the receiver section. In that circuits are used. After that photo detector circuit, it will convert it into the digital pulse, and those digital pulse are converted to decoder. We can convert digital pulse into the analog pulse, and those analog pulse are connected to the telephone lines, and that digital pulses are connected to the computer directly. So in this way we can explain the fiber optic communication block diagram. It is very simple to understand. So the main components of fiber optic communication is, first is A to D converter, that is analog to digital converter. Then a light source is required in transmitter section, a fiber optic cable, a light detector with amplifier and wave shaper in the receiver section, and the last is D to A converter, that is digital to analog converter. Advantages. The first advantage of fiber optic cables over conventional cables are, first is wider bandwidth, the bandwidth is, then loss is low, then weight is light, small size, security and strength. Let's see the applications of optic cable is, first is local and long distance telephone system, then wide area and local area computer networks. It can be used in closed circuit TV system also, that is CCTV. It is used in shipboard communication, aircraft communication. It is also used in TV studio to transmit interconnection. It is used in secure communication system at military bases. And it is also used in college campus communication. So let's start with the fax, that is also the communication system. So facsimile is, this is the picture of fax which is used in practicals. So what do you mean by fax? Facsimile or fax is an electronic system for transmitting graphical information by wire or radio waves. So with new higher resolution scanning techniques and high speed modems, graphical information can be sent and received by fax machine. So documents such as letters, photographs, line drawings can be converted into an electric signal and transmitted by communication techniques. So basically the use of fax is to transmit the graphical images such as letters, photographs. We can send these graphical images over an electronic signal, that is by using telephone signals. Concept of scanning. So this is the concept of scanning. In this picture we can observe there is one scanner over there, and that scanning image is converted into the digital signal, and that digital signal is connected to the modem, and again modem will convert that signal into the analog signal, and it is connected to the telephone line. So modern fax machine is a high-tech electro-optical machine. Scanning is done electronically and scanned image is converted into the binary signal. Modems are used for digital transmission. So let's see the concept of scanning in fax. So basically here CCDs, that is charge coupled device, are used for scanning. So a CCD is a light sensitive semiconductor device that converts varying light amplitudes into an electric signals. So some mirrors are used with this charge coupled device. So it will reflect the image of scanning and that will convert it into the electronic circuit. So let's see the concept of scanning in fax. So when the light falls on the CCD capacitors charge to a value proportional to the light intensity. So the capacitors are then scanned electronically to determine their charge, and this will produce an analog output signal that will display the image. Let's see the fax transceiver block diagram. So here two sections are there. Transmitter block and transmitter section is connected to the receiver block. Here again CCD is used. The output of CCD is connected to the ADC, that is analog to digital converter. Then the output of ADC is connected to the digital data compression and it is connected to the modulator circuit. So then modulation signal is connected to the telephone line. So the analog signal of telephone line is connected to the demodulator circuit. Again it is converted into the digital data and it is connected to the expansion circuit. and the last one is thermal printer. So let's start with the working of each block. So in the transmission section, we have CCD provides an analog output fed to the ADC. ADC provides a stream of binary numbers. VLSI technique is used. This circuit reduces the redundancy in the converted image. And the last part in transmission section is modulator. The binary output in serial data format is then used to modulate a carrier which is transmitted over the telephone lines. In the receiver section, we have demodulator. So demodulator received signals demodulated and sent to the VLSI. Again, VLSI is used for data compression. Data compression is removed and the binary signal restored in the original form. And it is fed to the thermal printer. A special heat sensitive paper is used. The print stylus contains tiny heating elements that are turned on and off by received signals. Next block is control logic. So to ensure compatibility between sending and receiving fax machines, control logic carries out the process of handshaking by audio tones prior to transmission. If the transmission continues, the calling machine sends signals to ensure that both machines start at the same time. So let's start with the cellular radio systems. So cellular radio systems, the conventional telephone systems not provide communication services in remote locations. Therefore, cellular radio telephones are necessary. So the basic concept of cellular radio system is that rather than serving a given geographical area with a single transmitter and receiver, the area is divided into many cells. So each cell is connected by telephone lines to a master control center known as MTSO, Mobile Telephone Switching Office. So the MTSO controls all the cells and provides the interface between each cells and main telephone office. So as a vehicle containing the telephone passes through these cells, it is served by the cell transmitter. The telephone's call is routed through MTSO and telephone system. So as a vehicle moves to the next cell, the system automatically switches from one cell to the next cell, and the computer at MTSO switches the transmission from that vehicle to the stronger cell in a very short period of time. So why cellular radio system is better than MTS, that is mobile telephone system? So the cellular radio system operates at higher frequency, therefore more spectrum is available, but in MTS 450 MHz frequency was used, so that's why channels are limited. Area served in divided into cells, and for each cell separate receiver and transmitter are used. But in MTS, cells are not formed and only one repeater station was used. So here frequency reuse is possible, therefore can serve 50,000 subscribers. Here in MTS, frequency reuse is not possible. That's why cellular is better than MTS. So this is the block diagram of cellular radio systems. So let's start with the function of each block. The first block is transmitter. So this is low power FM unit operating in the frequency range of 825 to 845 MHz. So the carrier provided by a frequency synthesizer is phase modulated by voice signal. Antenna. The transmitter output is fed to the duplexer circuit that allows the transmitter and receiver to share the same antenna. Frequency synthesizer. So this section develops all signals used by transmitter and receiver. Receiver. The receiver is a double super heterodyne type. It consists of duplexer, RF amplifier, mixer, local oscillator, IF amplifiers, FM modulator and audio amplifiers. Next block is logic unit. So this unit interprets the serial digital data from the site and MTSO. So it contains microprocessor chip. Next unit is control unit. So this contains the handset with speaker and microphone. It is also contain touch dialing circuit. So the control unit is operated by separate microprocessor that derives the LCD display and other indicators. So a separate telephone number is assigned to each unit. So radar. So the last topic is radar, that is, what do you mean by radar? So radar stands for radio detection and ranging. So it is basically a means of collecting information about distant object or targets by sending high frequency RF signal to them and picking up the waves reflected by these objects. So the reflected signal is called as echo and the targets may be airplanes, missiles, ships, etc. So how to determine the distance by using radar? So a radar signal must travel twice the distance between the radar unit and the target. So when the signal is transmitted, it gets reflected from the target and travels an equal distance back to the radar station. So here we can calculate the distance. Distance is speed into two-way time divided by 2. So if 1 microsecond is the time, then distance will be 150 meter. So nautical mile is used for this measurement. So there are two types of radar which are available. First is continuous wave, that is CW radar, and the second is pulse radar. So this is the diagram of CW radar. So in this type, constant amplitude continuous microwave sine wave is transmitted. So the echo is also constant amplitude sine wave of the same frequency but of lower amplitude. So here Doppler effect is there. So when detecting a moving object, the reflected signal undergoes a frequency change, and the frequency shift that occurs between transmitter and remote object is known as Doppler effect. So basically Doppler effect is used in CW radar. Second type of radar is pulse radar. So here signals are transmitted in short bursts or pulses as shown in figure. So the time between the end of transmitted pulse and the beginning the next pulse is sequence, and during this interval echo is received. So this is the block diagram of pulse radar. So first block is transmitter. So uses a magnetron, which is a special high power vacuum tube oscillator that operates in microwave region. Second block is master timing generator. It produces the pulses for triggering the magnetron, sets the pulse duration and the duty cycle. Third is duplexer. It is a waveguides assembly containing the spark gap tubes. Next is horn antenna. Highly directional with parabolic reflector is used with a rotary machine. So the waveguide and antenna can be rotated continuously over a 360-degree angle. In the receiver, it is also super heterodyne type. So the displays of cathode ray tube, two types of display can be used in radar, pulse radar. First is a scan display and second one is PPI display. Uses of radar, it can be used in safety and navigation, in defense weapon system, to locate enemy missiles, ships, planes, etc., and to assist the planes in bad weather. Thank you. So students, in this lecture we have completed our chapter number 5, Modern Electronic Communication. Thank you.